Hey everyone, welcome back to Lavendaire. It's Aileen. So I personally love seeing the behind the scenes of how creatives get their work done. So I thought I would make an updated video on my camera setup for YouTube, what equipment I use to shoot my videos, and also what advice I have for creators who are just starting out, because I seriously get tons of questions again and again about this topic. I've made a couple videos in the past, which I'll link below, but it's already been a few years, so I feel like I should make an updated version of my camera setup and also advice for creators. Before I get into it, let me just note that you absolutely do not need any of this stuff to start making videos. You can start using your phone. The phone quality is just so good now that you can really just use that to vlog, maybe get a little phone tripod, and that is all you need. And all the stuff that I use is because I've accumulated it over, I don't know, the past 5 or more years of doing YouTube. So yeah, that was even before like phone videos were that great. But anyway, let's get into it. So I'll start with the camera that's on the tripod right now. I use the Canon 80D to film this type of setup where I'm sitting in my living room talking. The reason why I like this camera is because it has the flip out screen, so I can see myself, that I'm framed and I'm in focus. And that's really important to me because it just makes it super easy. It's the quickest way for me to just set up that one camera, shoot with my mic, and I'm done. So I've had that camera since 2016, and I think about a year after that I got a second camera. This is the Sony a7S II. This is a full frame camera and the Canon 80D is a crop frame. You don't have to know the difference, but this Sony was just an upgrade from the Canon, and the quality is much more cinematic and film-like, to put it simply. And the Sony is also a much smaller body, even though the lens is pretty big. So with the Canon, the lens that I use is the Sigma 30mm f1.4, which is what I've been using since I started Lavendaire. And this Sony, I have two lenses. I got this zoom lens, which is 24-70, which is good for multi-purpose. Like I use that to shoot B-roll. I usually keep this big lens on when I'm just shooting daily, everyday life kind of stuff. And then I switched to my second lens, which is a smaller one. It's the 28mm f2, I believe. And that one I got just for my travel camera setup. So when I travel, I still love taking high quality B-roll shots, but like this lens is just so heavy for me. It's just so clunky. It's hard to fit in a purse. And when I switch it to the smaller lens, it's much easier to fit in a purse. So generally that's how I shoot my main videos. The Canon for just this shot and the Sony for everything else. It's nice because I could keep my Canon on the big tripod and I don't usually have to take it off. And the Sony I like to kind of use handheld to get like random B-roll shots. I do want to note that the main con of my Sony camera is that it's not touchscreen. So the Canon is touchscreen, which I love. It's easy to focus on whatever I want just by touching it. And the Sony is not, which is pretty frustrating sometimes when I'm traveling and I'm just trying to focus on specific things. So this camera has taught me how to use like the actual functions of a camera better because I couldn't like fall back on touchscreen. Moving on, I have a couple vlog cameras. I usually use this one because it's the smallest and I take this with me when I just travel or go to events. This is the Canon G7X. When I first made my previous video 2 years ago, I like butchered that name and I still get comments to this day like, oh, you said it wrong. Anyway, this is amazing because it's like so small, convenient. It has good enough quality, I would say. If you watch my vlogs, this is what I use. This is a camera that I actually got gifted from Canon, so I have like an extra vlog camera. This is the Canon EOS M100. This is cool because the lens is a little bit better than the G7X, but the quality of this one is essentially the same as this one. I did tests where I took photos and videos side by side, and it's so similar. I think this one does a little bit better in lower light than this one, and I don't know, it's so comparable though. If I were to just get one, I would just get this one. But because I do have two, what I do sometimes is this is the camera I take to vlog when I go out. And if I ever need like a second camera to vlog, then I use this one at home. And I know to you guys, you're like, why do you need 2 vlogging cameras? Sometimes I work on multiple videos at a time, so it's just easier for me to separate the files by camera. Like this is the camera I'm using to shoot my sleep series right now, and then this is the camera I use to film my event vlog. But it is just nice to have the option to have an extra backup vlog camera. Moving on to audio, I have updated my mic that I use to shoot my videos. I'm currently using the Zoom H6, and this is a mic that is not connected to my camera. It's on its own tripod. I put it a little closer to me. It's in front of the camera, and that way you hear my voice very, very clearly. Sometimes when you put the mic on the camera, it's a little too far. I think the closer you can get to the person's voice, the better quality you get, and I don't want to wear like a mic on me, so it's nice to have this in my room, and it works for most setups that I use for my videos. I honestly think that my videos feel professional because of the audio. Audio actually makes up like, I don't know, half of the feeling of a video. If you have like a high quality video with like horrible, cheap audio, it just feels like a cheap video. But if you watch the same video taken on like a crappy camera, but with like high quality sound design, then that video will feel more professional. I'll also link down below a person who made that comparison. You could watch the same video with good video and bad sound, or bad video and amazing sound, and you can see the difference. That sound makes such an impact on the quality of a video. All right, moving on to lighting. So I personally love to use natural light. I feel like that is the Lavendaire vibe, all natural lighting in a very bright space. The thing is, right now it's like fall and the sun sets super early. It sets at like 4:30, and so I have to use my umbrella lights. So in the summer, I will just use natural lighting and this bounce board that I put like on the other side of my window. So if my windows are here, I put like this white bounce board here so that it could bounce like some light from the windows onto my face, so that it's not like super dark on one side. But now I'm actually using two fluorescent lights. One is here, one is there. These are the lights that I've actually used since like the beginning of Lavendaire. I've had these lights for over 4 years, but they do the job and they're cheap from Amazon. I'll link everything down below so you can check it out. Next, I'll just briefly show you my tripods that I own. I have about 4 tripods, from like small, 2 mediums, and a large, and the largest one is the heavy duty video one that I always use for my main video camera, and then the 2 medium ones, I use one for my mic, which I set in front of the camera, and then the other tripod I use for whenever I want to set my camera on a tabletop or the counter to make some vlogs. And lastly, I have this tiny one that is by Manfrotto, and this one is very versatile. I use it to set it on tables as well, or sometimes I hold it in my hand. It's one that I take for travel, and I also use this for my mic if I want to set my mic on a table to record some voiceovers. I use it very, very often for so many things. Even though I have all of these tripods, sometimes I am lazy. If my camera is on one tripod and I'm too lazy to take it off, I will still stack books and boxes and stuff to get it at the right height. So you really don't need all of these tripods or this equipment. You can always find something in your home that you can use to make whatever shot you want. It's all about creativity and just using what you got. So whether you're just starting out or if you've been making videos for a while, I think it's always beneficial to keep learning, keep practicing, and keep honing in on your craft. So my favorite place to learn new skills in any creative area is Skillshare, and I'd like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video actually. So Skillshare is an online learning platform with thousands of classes in design, photo, business, and more, so you can improve your skills or explore new fields. A premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes from experts in different areas. So for example, if you're looking to learn more about shooting and making videos, then Teranishi, who's also a YouTuber, has a Skillshare class on how to vlog. There's also other classes by cinematographers on camera basics, or how to create a shot list, or how to create your filmmaking style. So there's just so many ways to explore and dive deeper into how to make better videos, and I am so fascinated and interested in all the parts. So if you're interested in trying out Skillshare, an annual subscription is less than $10 a month, but the first 500 people who click the link in the description will get a free 2-month trial to Skillshare. So if you want to try it out for free for 2 months, click right there down below. Now I want to move on and share some advice for creators out there. So you may not know that I've been making videos on YouTube since 2007, December 2007. So it's been almost 11 years of making videos, and those were like singing and piano videos. But I started Lavendaire about 4.5 years ago, which is still a good chunk of time, and I've learned so much over the years about the process, about just putting yourself out there. The biggest question I get is, how do you get over the fear of putting yourself out there? How do you get over the fear or the shyness of like recording yourself, like speaking to the camera? And if you go back and you watch my early videos, whether it's my singing videos or even like my first few Lavendaire videos, I was really like my eyes would be shifty a lot, and I just didn't know how to look directly into the camera. It was awkward. I'm gonna tell you, it's never gonna not feel awkward. Even like today, it does feel a little awkward, but you just have to like brush off the awkwardness and just keep filming, just keep creating, keep doing it. As long as you take the action and get through it, you will be a little stronger at the end of it. And the only way to overcome that fear is to face it. The only way to get better is to practice. The more you do it, the less scary it will feel. Even for me, I used to like be so nervous about performing on stage, but there was this one year where I performed at least 2 or 3 times a month, where like every week I would be like performing, speaking or singing on stage. And at the end of that year, I remember I didn't get scared to go on stage anymore. It was fun. I was like, hey guys, I'm here. I became more confident in myself just from the process of doing it so much. And the same thing happens when you're making YouTube videos. You just become more confident the more that you do it. So if you're still in the stage of like, I'm scared, it feels awkward, it feels weird, don't let that stop you, just do it. I also want to touch on like the fear of being judged for putting yourself out there. You might feel afraid, or you just don't want to put yourself out there, especially if you're just starting out. Your videos might not be super great and you don't want other people to see them, people in your life. I get that. When I started making videos, I kept it a secret from the people in my life because I was so embarrassed to tell anyone. And I think I do give so much credit to YouTube for giving me my confidence, because if you listen to like my podcast episode number 1, I talk deeply about like keeping YouTube a secret, and eventually people found my videos and they started to find out that I sing and find out that I like to perform. And it was like a nightmare for me at that time, but just putting myself out there and facing it regardless made me have to accept that and be confident with myself. And when I started Lavendaire, I knew that a lot of people, a lot of peers wouldn't take me seriously because I was just, a girl. Who am I to teach others how to live their life when I was so lost figuring out my own life? And I just had to like do my best to ignore it and believe in myself, to be strong in myself, to believe in my vision and believe in my dream, and just focus on that. Next, I want to reiterate what I said in my older videos about advice for creators, because it still stands. QVCA still applies. That means quality, consistency, value, and authenticity. Those are 4 things that are essential if you want to create anything that will stick with audiences. You have to create as high quality as you possibly can. It doesn't have to be like film quality, but it has to be like the best. Like, always do your best when you're creating. Consistency is so important in this digital age. Like, you have to have like a set, consistent schedule of posting, whether you want to post 1 Instagram photo a day, 1 video a week, whatever it is, like, you decide. Maybe you want to just post 1 thing a month. It doesn't have to be so often, but as long as it is consistent and you stick to a schedule, that is super important. So I actually switched it. The second one was V, which stands for value. So with whatever video or piece of content you create, it has to give value to the audience, meaning it has to either like entertain, educate, or inspire. It has to give something. It can't just be like for yourself. There's a reason why like informational videos do well, or comedy videos do well, because it makes people laugh. Or if you post a pretty picture, like, that is value because it's beauty, and some people find joy in looking at beautiful things. So just keep that in mind, that whenever you create something, it has to give something to the audience. And then lastly is authenticity. It's always so important to remain authentic, just because your authentic voice is your own. Like, you are so unique, so don't try to copy anyone else. Just be yourself. The more authentic and real you can be, the more that you can connect with people. And people online, I think, like, audiences can really see through you when you post things. When you're being authentic and vulnerable, real and raw, that's when you make that human to human, soul to soul connection. And that's how you get people to engage with you and remember you. And I think it's so important. Next is patience and perseverance. This is something that applies to whatever you are doing in life. We tend to be very impatient and we tend to want success and results now. Like, we wish things would speed up for us. But in reality, like, life moves at a certain pace. You can't really control it. So you have to be patient and understand that things will happen on its own time for your greatest good. So be patient as you create and continue to persevere no matter what, because you never know when will be your breakthrough point. You never know, like, you can be creating videos for a year or 2 years and not see any results. But what if it was like 2 years and 1 month and that's when you had your breakthrough point? So you never really know when it's going to happen for you, when things will start picking up, but you just have to believe, have faith, trust in yourself. And as you're doing that, like, of course, keep improving on your work, keep learning, keep honing in on your craft, because if you are truly growing throughout the whole process, then if you just keep going, like, you're gonna make it. Another most frequently asked question is, how did you grow your channel? And for me, there were a few key moments where my channel got like bumps because of specific videos that I posted. For example, when I started posting about KonMari and minimalism, it just happened to happen during that wave of when KonMari got really popular. So I luckily got bumped up from like the YouTube algorithm and my videos started to get recommended more. And then I had another video, like the 10 ways to reduce waste one, that for some reason like took off, and I'm not even sure why. But aside from those two bumps that I could see distinctly, it was pretty steady, slow growth throughout, I would say. And I think it just goes back to creating quality, consistent content and just continuing to make videos that I'm excited about. So there's a balance between making videos that you're excited about and then a balance of, like, you know, seeing what videos are kind of trending and finding a way to create that on your own. A huge part of it is trial and error, learning how to make better videos, more engaging videos, like hooking viewers in the first 10 seconds with something like exciting. That's why I show like B-roll in the beginning of the video rather than going straight to the talking. Simple things like that. And titles and thumbnails are like the advertising for your videos, so those really matter as well. I think a lot of people, when they're starting out, they want to make whatever they want to make and they don't really take into consideration what other people want to see, what other people are searching for, and so they don't really see traction on their videos. So I would say when you're starting out, you do have to be a little strategic on that and do some research on what people are looking up, or even consider like what are the videos that you want to see and yet you don't see in the space, because that's kind of how I looked at it when I was starting out. I couldn't find people talking about personal growth on YouTube, so I just started making videos like that. No matter what though, you want to make sure that you're excited for each video or each piece of content that you create. You want to have fun creating and not create just because you have to. Sometimes when you're on that schedule and you're committed to the schedule, you do feel like you have to post, but always look at it from the perspective of, how can I make this fun? How can I make this a project that I'm excited to do? Another note on this is, if you find yourself procrastinating on a certain concept for some reason, you just are resistant to doing it, that means you have to do it even more because it's important to you and it's probably a project that is difficult and will make you grow. So it's a little clue to like go in that direction. Next, since you know that you're in it for the long haul, you have to understand that there will be ebbs and flows, highs and lows in your journey. That's just the way that it will be. Like, I have had low points, I have had high points, I've gone back down to low points. My channel has grown fast and slow and fast and slow. And I've just accepted that that's just how it's going to be. You're never going to be like, you know, on an amazing trajectory for the rest of your life. Like, imagine life is great forever. Like, that's not going to happen. You're going to have your highs and lows in your career just as in life. So you have to develop this stamina and this like strength, like ground yourself, have like a solid foundation that I'm still going to create no matter what happens. And it helps when you do not focus on the results and you do not focus on the numbers, but instead focus on the process of creating. Like I said, you have to enjoy the process of creating, and you have to feel proud of yourself at the end of each creation. Like, you should feel proud of yourself after finishing something, because it's this feeling of satisfaction, and that's kind of what you should focus on rather than what other people think or what other people say. Focus on you, focus on the work that you put into it, and that's it. Another tip I want to put out there is to explore different platforms and see if you could recreate content in different formats for different platforms, because different formats work well on different platforms. For example, I have a plants video that I made on YouTube, and then I recreated it for your Facebook, but on Facebook it kind of went viral and got like over 2 million views in 2 months, when on YouTube it's just kind of like a regular video that didn't get that much attention. So you never really know what will work on what platform. You just have to like explore and test it out, see what happens. So lastly, I'll talk about inspiration. So as a creative, you can get burnt out if you focus on creating and you're always like grinding and grinding. So self-care is important, super important to take care of yourself. Take time to journal, fill your soul, meditate, go on artist dates, all of that. And to find inspiration, personally, I like to find inspiration from other creative areas. Like, I don't want to watch too many people who are in the same field as me, so I actually purposely don't watch too many, because if I watch them, I'll like subconsciously create videos similar to that, or I'll have similar ideas. So I like to look outside of that. I like to watch like just random things on Netflix. Like, Meteor Garden is this Chinese TV show that I have been obsessed with. I love so much, and I watch it for its cinematography and its coloring. Always keep an open mind and be willing to receive inspiration from anywhere in life. Once you stay open, you will find that you get those sparks of inspiration more, and it's just more fun. It'll be helpful for you in your career rather than focusing on like, you know, your own lane. Just open it up and see what else is out there. Be curious, and you will always have something new to learn. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video and my advice for creators. If you have any other questions, leave them down below and I'll have fun chatting with you down there. All right, have a beautiful day. Bye.